Welcome to Master Muse. Appleby, I am so excited to have you here today.
I'm honored to be here. Thank you for having me.
I'm so thrilled. When I found you on the TikTok,
Yeah.
I was like, this guy is incredible. I mean, all I do is scroll looking for artists and beg them to let you tell your story.
Yeah.
So first of all, how are you feeling today?
I'm alive. I always start with I'm alive because,
Okay.
well, that's like a truth and not a guarantee.
Right.
So, you start there and then I'm recovering from like a very intense week myself. So I feel like this morning is like breathe, collect myself, and then go ahead and do the weekend properly. So
Okay.
yeah, feeling good.
Okay. Are you planning on relaxing this weekend? Do you have lots more to do?
The thought was to rocks, but my cousin's in town with my uncle, so we'll probably do a little bit of entertaining today, and then relax a little bit through tomorrow, and then play tennis in like the evening tomorrow. So kind of, but like not really. I'll get like a better weekend next Saturday.
Okay, fingers crossed and holding out for the next. I mean, it's still good to have, company and people that you know and love to spend time with, but it is energy that you are expending, especially after a week of expending energy. So where I like to start is the very beginning. As I say frequently, it's a really good place to start.
I like it.
I just want to know what your beginning moments were with music. Is it always been present? Was it playing on the radio? Were you do you remember it because you were buying music? What was your start with your relationship?
So music has been like present in my life for as long as I can remember, as far as my passion for listening to it. Like I grew up having like a household family wise that was very like gospel and very R&B, very like this is the kind of music we will allow for everybody in the room to experience. And like I have my appreciation of the artist through my mom's lens and some of my aunts. And then I had my music taste through like my friends and things like that. So most of my friends were very like rap driven. So there was that going on. And then I was the kid that like pulled off into like rock and like weird indie music and things of that nature. So like I had this like hodgepodge of music called melting pot, I guess.
Okay, so who were the artists that you were listening to?
So I listened to a lot of like Talking Heads, Flyleaf, the Ramones, Cranberries, Evanescence, and like a lot of like that kind of like rock, that 2000s.
Okay, what kind of gospel was mom and aunties listening
to? My mom was listening to like a lot of Yolanda Adams, and then she was like a massive Mary J. Blige fan as far as like R&B is concerned.
Yeah,
and a lot of like very classic R&B and like Kirk Franklin for gospel, and like a lot of like that is like your proper like, hey, this is what we listen to on the radio, this is what we listen to in the house, and then I'm in headphones listening to rap or rock or anything that like no one else is allowed to comment on, so long as it doesn't like come out aloud. Kind of thing.
So like, I'm not listening to that.
Yeah,
I mean, I have to say, as a mom, it is hard for me sometimes. My son likes a band that he just recently saw, and it's silly. I shouldn't say it's silly. He knows it's silly. It's Ninja Sex Party, I think is what it's called.
I'm not hip.
NSP. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know that everybody in the whole world knows about them. They were just in Nashville and recently. Anyway, so he just saw them, and so they do a lot of. It's like comedy and music at the same time. Okay. So for me, it's like, buddy, are you going to really make me listen to this right now? I can't, but I have to allow it, right? Because, well, I'm always listening to my favorite, I got the top 5, I've got Without You by Appleby in my likes song list, right? I had to just recently put it down with the Hope list. It just came out. On the 16th. But I have mine, so I got to share the favorites. But that is something that really does, shape how you're hearing music, because you've got, I mean, Yolanda Adams, Mary J. Blige, Kirk
Yeah.
Franklin. You take that and then you do the Ramones, Cranberries, and
Yeah.
Evanescence.
Yeah.
Like you're
Yeah.
getting this
Yeah. And then my friends are
beautiful.
all like
How
rap.
different can music be?
Yeah, yeah, and I think also I think my thing because I grew up playing tennis, so like that's mainly the probably the reason why I didn't take music as like a real career opportunity because I was so focused on tennis. But
Okay.
I would say that music for me there was a music sensitivity. Like
Yeah.
my mood would be affected or changed if I'm in the car and there were sounds musically speaking that like I didn't really want to hear. So like I maybe like in church, my favorite part of church growing up was like the choir singing. And like
Okay.
these are all like different things where like if I'm like at a restaurant and there was a music playing or some music playing that like everybody else was just constantly talking, I'd just be sitting in the background like I don't like this. And it's like affecting my mood. And now that I think about it, like as an adult, I'll be like, oh, I was like really sound sensitive and like connect to music in a deeper way than other people, which is why like I had just like pulled my things from all of my friends or my community. And then was like, I understand that no one's going to care about this thing that I care about because I care about music differently than everyone else. But again, I was tennis centered. So it wasn't like
Okay. So how
anything
did
more
you
than
get started in tennis?
so my mom moved from Ohio to Illinois when I was 5, and she played tennis just for like fun, never really like anything like serious. And when she moved to Illinois, she didn't really know anybody. She had a 5-year-old kid, so it was like go to the other side of the net. Apparently, I took to it, and then by the time I was 8, I was traveling the state. By the time I was 10, I was traveling the country. By the time I was 12, I was traveling the world playing it. So, yeah, tennis was
Wow.
like my life.
Okay. I love when people tell me, especially they start with one thing. I've had some people that were like, ice capades kind of thing, ice
Oh,
skating, like all
crazy.
just different things where
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
some sport that they're focused on, and then music
Hmm.
comes in later. And I wonder if there's a correlation with the discipline of
Hmm.
practice
Hmm.
and passion, those two
Yeah,
things together that make you good, especially when you go into the music industry, because you got to have some tenacity,
yeah,
and
100%.
some drive. What was it like as a young kid traveling the world? Did you understand that it was a big deal?
Yeah, I mean, like I've always been a pretty like precocious child, so like I've constantly been like very aware of like one the privilege of being able to do so when we didn't have a whole lot of money. So tennis and getting good was also to like pay for college. So you're sacrificing very early on financially. My
Yeah.
mom is a single parent, and then I'm taking it serious where it's like this isn't money just going into nothing. This is money into like eventually being sponsored by clothing and rackets and travel, so that alleviates some of her pressures and then paying for college, which would alleviate the main pressure of a parent that wants their kid to go to school. And so there was that. And then there's like the idea of when you're like a kid and you're career driven, because I think that there's a difference in sports when like you're playing it for fun with your neighborhood friends.
Right.
And then there's the like, you wake up 2, 3 hours before kids in regular school to practice your sport. You go to school, you leave school, you practice again, you finish your homework, you go to bed, you repeat process. And it wasn't until I went to tennis academy for school that I like for high school that like I was understood to a degree because most
Mm,
kids as like whether it's a joking habit or a bullying trait or whatever it would be like when you do something different than everyone else then it would be like here comes the kid that came back from London, and of course some of it is like a joke more than it is like real bullying by any means, but they kind of make you feel like you're doing something wrong, I guess,
right. I mean,
more than just
there's
like
no room for other in with
yeah,
children.
yeah,
If you're not
yeah,
exactly
yeah.
the same, if you don't like the Nikes, if you're
Yeah.
not
Yep.
interested in baseball, like I don't understand why
Yeah.
you're interested in tennis. I don't
Yeah.
understand why you can't, come and do Beyblades with us, or or
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever it
One hundred
is,
percent.
any kind of other.
Yeah.
And it's like the kids, they are the bullies that go, let me point out what's weird about you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
But
it's
I
not
loved
until
it.
we're adults that we go, oh, that's the cool shit.
100%. Yeah. But like I was one of those kids that loved what they did at that particular point in my life. So like it never bothered me if anybody said anything related to it because like tennis was my form of control in life. Like for me, getting
Mm,
good at the sport was about like my world was in chaos, and like tennis was the one place in my life where like I could step on the court and learn how to develop the skill of placing a ball in a certain corner 15 times in a row. And like I think that version of control alleviated the lack of control like in my like personal life kind of thing.
mhm.
And then just my natural desire to get better competitively speaking, the two went hand in hand. And so I was always good with 10 hours on a tennis court because that was 10 hours that was less in the other
Taking the
things.
pressure off of
Yeah,
real
yeah,
life.
yeah, yeah. So I loved it, and that's why music was the background for me. Like I think it was like a true love, and I
Right.
needed it every time I'm training. I loved it when working out or running or whatever. But it wasn't ever like, hey, you're singing or like, hey, you're rapping to these songs. Like you should think about this as like a career.
Did you think that you would be a tennis pro?
Yeah, that was definitely the
Yeah.
goal until I sadly burned out. And that's just from like the years of doing something at a level that I was at. And I was probably one of the few athletes that wasn't robbed of whatever their career could have been from an injury. It was just purely checking out mentally and realizing that my mental was at risk and
Mm,
like I needed to step away. And then stepping away was like the best decision ever made. However, what I experienced is what I imagine like people of a certain age experience, which is like an identity crisis. Because I spent
yes.
my entire life looking at myself one way and being seen only one way. So in stepping away, you have to readjust like your identity, and everybody's putting pressure on you. Because in my case, I didn't get an injury. It was just like people being like, why aren't you playing? And it would
And how
be
old
like,
were you at that time?
17, 17. So right before college. Worst time to do it,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Well,
Um,
maybe not the worst time to do it before you head into more investment. And
yeah,
also, I feel like 20s are such a weird time for a lot of people. You're
yeah,
already feeling like you're supposed to have it all figured out, and you're not, but you
100%.
feel like you are.
Yeah,
So maybe
yeah.
best that you realize that right
Yeah,
before.
I think it depends on how anybody might look at it. Like for one, it was like this was going to pay for the best schooling and things of that nature, just based off where we were at and the amount of time put into it. So again, like not the best timing, but
Mm,
timing necessary because it was during most of my college visits and one college visit in particular where I was like, I know that I'm going to end up quitting in 6 months, which means that I'm going to sacrifice this $70,000 a year scholarship for most of these top D1 schools. And now you're looking at it like you're wasting an opportunity for somebody else that will really obviously love and enjoy what the school
mm,
system is, but also take advantage of what the scholarship is. And, if I'm factoring around like a team being built around me, then I'm actually like ruining the team to a degree. So
wow.
it was best for me to step away mainly for me, but also thinking of the team and what it would do if I also quit during the middle of it. So it was just more
Okay.
like a full encompassing decision.
Okay. Here's what I'm hearing, and tell me if I'm wrong. Even at a very young age, you were carrying lots of responsibility on your
100%.
shoulders.
Yeah.
Like for
Yeah.
a 17-year-old to be like, not only will I be upsetting the tennis coaches, but there's a team behind this. There's other people trying to get, like, all the things that you just
Yeah.
named. I'm not going to repeat everything you just
Yeah.
said, but
Yeah.
to have that awareness at that age of what that responsibility is for you, I mean, most 17
Yeah.
year olds are going to be like, I don't really care.
Yeah.
I don't,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
just go and they do whatever.
Yeah.
What do you think that's a personality trait, or do you think that was born out of the way that your home environment when you were growing up?
I mean, I think it's probably like it's that nature versus nurture conversation. And I
Yeah.
think it's a mixture of both. I think it's
Yeah.
naturally within my nature to be who I am. And then I had an amazing parent. My mom is an amazing person and raised me to be me and never tried to erase me from the way she was raising me if we had differences.
Hmm.
And so I feel like I was nurtured to exist in whatever my thought process was and that I could trust my thought process. So it would be like things like my mom is like very analytical. She's very ones and zeros. So like if I was making heavy decisions because the work field that she was in, she did a lot of like PowerPoints. And
Hmm.
so like I'd be the kid if I was making a big decision to create like a 5 slide PowerPoint or 10 slide so that I could like explain it to her in
Oh,
her
I
manner of
love
like
you.
seeing it, to be like, I've already ran through what you might ask. You already see how serious I am. And then any other questions we can kind of talk about. But like I've ran it through my mind through your lens. And so maybe we'll land on what I want, but at least you know that I'm considering it all. So like that's the way my mind was wired. And I had a parent that like nurtured that way of existing, maybe because it made it easier for her. And like obviously when you're a single parent to an only child, like there's a lot of trust involved because
Right.
there's not a backup person to carry the weight of
Right.
things. So you're just kind of using this partnership as like trust. And then again, because she never like changed me because I was different than her in whatever ways, she just nurtured it. So yeah, I just felt like I
I
wasn't
love
doing
your
anything
mom.
wrong. Right? I know, me too.
I think it's so important. I have 4 children. So
Okay.
navigating through what each of them need
Hmm.
to be the best version of themselves, which is all I'm asking
Hmm.
for. All I'm
Yeah.
asking for is for you to find a way to have, I've changed it from happiness to contentment,
Hmm. Hmm.
um, and find success however you define that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
let that be a changeable thing,
100%, 100%.
you know?
Because I mean, I think a lot of times as like a kid being a bit older now and reflecting on it, it's like there's everything around you is more heightened because like you're not worried about bills yet. You're not worried about like life's stress. So like school is important. Friends are really important. These things that like
Right.
have like more like value in your life, because like if it was a matter of like I got to pay bills this month, and like I got to pay rent, and I got to do this, and I got a partner, and I have this and this and this and this. Some of those other things don't matter as much. But if I think about childhood, then like what my high school friends think of me, matter. What my middle school friends think, what my girlfriend at the time might think, what my teachers think, and like what I'm wearing matters, and all those different things are really important because your brain's not factoring in anything else. So, that's when it's just like, oh, yeah, I do kind of get why all of this is more stressful, because if I factor those other things in, then those are like the high school kids that maybe had to raise their siblings. And maybe that's
Yeah.
why schooling isn't as important for them, because they have
Right.
another real life thing taking over. And that's when I'm like, oh, there's just so much nuance to all of us. And all we can do is the best we can, and then work through who we are. And it usually comes later than it does at 14 or 15 kind
Right.
of thing.
I don't know. I just think of all that pressure.
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing. It's like I can see the benefit of both, of doing something competitive at a young age, being involved. I've talked to people who've been in choirs that have traveled the
Mm-hmm.
world. There's
Mm-hmm.
all these really adult things where adult people are
100%.
talking to you and working with
Yep.
you, so that you take into adulthood kind of how to manage adult relationships a little bit
Mm-hmm.
better,
Mm-hmm.
because you've been dealing with adults who are instructing you on a very personal level.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so I kind of think you guys have a little bit of a, not just a little bit, a real leg up when you go into the music industry, where you're
Yeah.
maybe not going, everything's going to be handed to me. This is going to be so
100%.
easy. I'm
Yeah.
one TikTok away from, being
Yeah.
the next fill in the blank.
Yeah.
You're ready to do some work.
100%. I think as an athlete, the separation would be that, like, you understand there's no shortcuts. And the more competitive
Hmm.
you are in your sport, you understand, like, the more training is necessary to be better than not just like the next person, but be the better version of yourself. And, like, there's no way to get around that. Like, if you try to, you'll find that, like, you'll come up short somewhere, whether it's in the middle of a match because you didn't do as much running. Now your endurance, checks out, or whatever the case may be. So it's kind of like discipline, as you spoke about earlier, and then like mental fortitude and toughness, and then like showing up for practice in a way that no one else is supposed to care more than you. And people only care when it's about the award at the moment that you get it, or if you
Right.
fail in that moment. But like, even if those things happen, I view the biggest thing about being an athlete is how you view failure. And that, like, okay, cool, I've learned from what I did wrong, and then I'll go back to the drawing board and figure it out. For some people being like, I had a bad release and I don't want to do anymore, or I had a bad
Mm.
show I don't want to do anymore. An athlete is like, I had a bad performance. Like, I got to get better if I like this thing. Otherwise, this is like my floor or my ceiling. And most athletes that are really competitive is like, this is my floor, not my ceiling. And I think that those separating things outside of what you spoke about, which is handling the adult world and being disciplined or routine oriented or understanding like where your energy needs to be in order to be your best version of self, it's there. But I feel like it's just a bunch of nuances at this point.
It just blows my mind. I can't, I wish I could go, like, I want to go into that world and kind of really see what it's like to have that experience. I would have loved to have done something more serious or professional at that young age, just to
Mm-hmm.
see how different I would be as a person. Because I
Yeah,
definitely feel like it has changed you as a human being
100%
from
for
where
sure.
you would have been had you just kind of, done what all the other kids were doing, Beyblades
100%.
and soccer in the
Yeah, I
street.
mean,
And
yeah, it's hard to say because like it'll be one of those things where I'll be like, would I have survived my childhood just based off certain decisions that kids
mm,
make within their childhood, whatever their situations are, whatever neighborhoods they're from, wherever they're like at in their lives. It's like that created a form of structure to understand like what I could say yes to and no to, which means like you grow up faster. And then that's its
right.
own nuance thing of it being like you didn't enjoy childhood to make mistakes, which means like for some of those career athletes, career people, they make more of their probably stunted childhood mistakes as adults with more
Yeah.
at stake
Right.
than they would have if they would have been like 14 and you just did this thing with all your friends in the backyard. No one
Right.
cared. You're now 25, very famous and very wealthy, and this stupid thing that you would have done then and had out of your system, you don't have out of your system yet. So it's like, again, it's like a mixed thing where it's hard for me at this point in time to think about an alternative, like where I would have been, because it's hard to say.
But I do appreciate the fact that you did do it that way, because I
Yeah,
don't think that we would be
absolutely.
having the conversation that we're
Nope.
having right now.
Not at all. Not at
I mean, there's
all.
no
Not at
going
all.
back and being like, okay, I wish it was different. And I know it shaped you. I'm
Yeah,
so fascinated. I would love for them to do a documentary on like athletes to musicians, like,
100%. I
because
agree. I think that
I've
would be
interviewed
amazing.
several. I mean, I've only done like 20 interviews, and
Yeah.
literally like half of them were
Yep.
like, oh, I was really into sports when I was a kid, and then somehow
Yeah.
shifted. And
Yeah.
I'm like, number one, I want to know what the correlation is, and
Yeah.
two, I swear it's a recipe
It's there. It's
for
there.
more success,
100%.
really,
I totally agree with you. For sure.
because really what we need to do as artists is not quit. Just
100%. Yep.
keep making the thing, keep doing the
Yep.
thing, keep getting
Yep.
yourself out there.
Yep.
And if you can
Yep.
just continue to do that, then you
Yeah.
get to do music for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's it. You
100%.
just don't quit,
100%.
and
Yeah.
find
Yeah.
however it works for you. Okay.
Mhm.
So you're 17, you've made this decision before you go into college with this
Mhm.
very impressive mind that's
Thank
realizing
you.
the weight of your decision.
Yeah.
Did you end up going to college, or did you take
I
a
did
break, or
for a
what happened?
short bit, and my mind wasn't in the right place. So I went to like the smallest school possible. Didn't even have a men's team. I didn't want to see tennis. I didn't want to think tennis. I didn't want to be around it. I didn't want to look at it. Yeah, just like wanted to completely separate from it. And about like 4 months of being there, I realized I'm just not in the right headspace. Because again, like the way that I'm wired, and then you pull out everything you know, and now it's like, what's your future look like, kid? It just was like too much for me, and
Yeah.
so I stepped away from school and had probably like the the haziest part of my life, which probably incorporated like depression within like identity
Mm,
crisis, because like as we're speaking now, I don't think I had a form of a language of how to express what I'm feeling, because
mhm,
no one around me understood what it felt like to like have all that at your fingertips and then
mhm,
understand that I don't want any of it. And I also recognize this is a really bad decision because like it guarantees the next chapter. So like I also don't know what the next chapter is, so I don't have an answer either. So it was like this like hazy time period of trying things and nothing really working and nothing landing in the same way of love and passion that like tennis would, where there would be like sticky notes on the mirror and like all the things that like how to factor in what I kind of consider 24 hours a day, right? Like I was talking to my
Yeah.
mom about this and friends about this. It was like from maybe 10 to 17, I didn't understand what 24 hours felt like. Like I had a wake up time of 3, 4 a.m. I'm at, tennis court at this time. I'm at school to this time. I'm at practice to this time. I'm at like homework and dinner and maybe a TV show, and that's like maybe a factor of like, let's say like 16 hours, right?
Yeah.
So like if you have that for such a long period of time, and now it's like, here's 24 hours, here's 7 days a week, here's what like just infinite time is, like I didn't understand that. I never felt that before. So
You also
days felt
had, you said
longer.
you took tennis and that was your coping mechanism to kind of
Yeah,
shut out what was really happening in
correct,
life. Now
correct,
we've
correct.
removed this cushion, per
Yeah,
se,
yeah,
between me
yeah.
and the world. And it's like,
Yep.
oh, oh, oh,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
you know, and then
yeah,
all this
yeah.
time in your head
Yeah,
to
yeah. It
sit
was,
and mull, and you can play the decision over
yeah,
and over again. Is it right and
yeah.
is
And the
wrong?
way my brain is wired, no.
And let me just say, as it's just as a person to you, and I'm sure
Yeah,
you're really aware of this, you deserved grace in that time.
for
You,
sure,
as your
for sure. Thank
person,
you,
deserved grace
thank you,
to
thank you.
just be hazy and be
Yeah, yeah,
lost, because it's
yeah.
just part of the journey. Because you're,
100%.
you're
Thank you.
talking to people, like, especially your song Without You, you're talking to people who knows what it's like
Yeah,
for to
yeah,
feel the weight of the world on them when
yeah,
they
yeah,
they shouldn't have been
yeah,
given that role.
yeah,
And
yeah,
without
yeah,
that experience, how could you
yeah.
speak of it? How could
That,
you can't speak to that. So
yeah.
part of your
Thank you,
journey, and let's throw a whole bunch of grace on top of your
for sure. Thank
hazy
you,
period, which I'm
for
sure you
sure.
do yourself, but I just want to
Yeah, yeah, that's a
say that.
practiced habit now, and I appreciate you saying that because that's kind of like the way that I exist as a human today, and kind of reiterate to others when we're talking about particular times in our lives, and so like you're talking about, like led me into music, and in particular on a night where I was listening to The Weeknd, who was like one of my favorite artists at the time, and I wanted to like um express myself after like hearing him express himself for such a long period of time. I found it, and I found myself like alleviating all of the thoughts and the emotions, and in a very bad way, because I definitely wasn't good at the beginning, much of us aren't, but
Right.
I felt better each time because I was being authentic within it. Like I wasn't trying to make a character. I was just like my very first lyric and like my first release song is like, I hate the angry boy inside of me. He's so pissed off he can't find no peace. And like it's like the idea of being like, okay, this is like your diary essentially.
Yeah.
And so it's therapy. And then for me, that's what music always was therapy. And
Yeah.
then I didn't realize I wanted to take it as a career opportunity until somebody messaged me saying I saved their life musically speaking, in the same way that many artists have saved mine. And it was like, oh, that whatever that is, that's something that I think we can build on. I can use this as therapy, and then and putting it out in the same way that you're talking about, like Without You, is to help people see themselves and extend a bit of grace to themselves, or find words for how they feel or about their experiences to maybe help them better here, kind of thing.
It's the magic of life. I talk about it every interview about how much I love it, which is why I'm doing another,
Yeah,
another podcast just so I can talk about it more. I'm like, yeah,
yeah,
but let
yeah.
me tell you about this
I
other
want to talk
artist,
about
and we're just
that. Yeah,
trading
yeah,
artists back and forth. Oh, but have you
yeah,
heard this song? Oh my God,
yeah,
there's so much to take
yeah,
in, but it's so amazing how incredibly therapeutic it is to sit in a space where you feel like somebody sees either where you are right now,
yeah,
or saw a place that you used to be in, and you go,
yeah,
oh man, I remember that feeling, or man,
yeah,
and you can have those moments where you're even just reminiscing on a time
yeah,
period
yeah.
where brokenness, or I don't know, I'm more akin to like the broken and the falling
Mm-hmm.
apart and the feeling
Yep.
lost to
Same, same,
that's, I go
same.
more that direction than
Yep, that's me.
the
That's me.
ooh, I mean, I love a
Yeah,
great love
yeah,
song if I'm in love, but right
yeah,
now we're in
yeah,
the moody
yeah.
broody era. um but it's so transformative.
100%.
And I think that my favorite thing about songwriters is the deeper you go,
Hmm.
the more people
Yep.
can come into that space
Yeah,
because
100%.
it is a common experience as much as
Yeah,
we think I'm the only one having this
correct. It's a
experience.
universal experience for sure.
And it's so great. Okay, so you decide to start releasing music. What year is this?
I started testing out music in December 2013, and then I
Okay.
spent like 8 months in my bedroom writing to music via GarageBand and recording it via the internal mic of my Mac Air.
Perfect. This is
And
basically
so
my current setup.
yeah, yeah, and like I would like pick up the laptop and like whisper into the side where like the mic is and stuff, and I did that for like such a long period of time.
I love it. Okay, what's your
And
favorite memory about that time? Because I think sometimes we have a tendency to kind of skip over the very beginning, so much so that sometimes people can't relate because they're like, I don't
yeah,
have all the prop. I have to have a this and a that, whatever. So tell me like your favorite experience of like messing something up or trying you did it
yeah.
in a weird way or something like that.
So I think my favorite aspect of that time, or even like favorite part, because I don't even know if I have like a favorite part more than I like remembering how badly I wanted to do it, but how like I didn't care at that particular time about like going out to ask my mom, can you give me a microphone, or like going out to buy the thing. I just wanted to do it, and it was purely still for me. Like there was no one that was invested in it or involved in it. So like endless searching type beats on YouTube, the weekend type beats, this person type beats, and like finding one, being like, I don't want to pay for it yet because I don't know if I like it. So like let's just YouTube to MP3. Let's drag that into like, garage band,
Right.
and like let's start writing the lyrics on the side, and then I have something cool and I'm like, hit record, and I'm whispering in the laptop, and then I'm like, that doesn't sound too good. I'm too close. I can hear the like lips or whatever, and I gotta like do it from further back. And yeah. And so like I think I just love that particular time for like purely being invested in it and nothing else being like for anyone else.
No
And like look,
responsibility for it,
there was no wrong, there was
just
no
for
right,
you.
there was just me. And that's where I think
Mhm.
about like back in the athlete days, or when you're like doing something at the park with your friends, there's no one really involved or invested more than just you. And so like that's where like music is to me at its purest. And the more you do
Yeah.
it, the more you try and have to get back to the purity of,
Right.
this is my expression, this is the way I want to express it, this is what I'm comfortable with, and like that's it. And like playing in studio versus like, what are my team gonna think, what are my audience
Right.
gonna think, how much money is this gonna make, is this a viral sound, is this a viral melody, is this a story, whatever. And it just like takes away from it being like, is this you? Do you like this
Right.
thing? Do you connect to this thing? You can write another song tomorrow. It's okay,
Right.
kind of thing. So that's what I think I like most, was just the purity of
What
it.
a fantastic answer.
Thank you.
What a great. I just think I think a lot of our lives where we can find the most mm, clarity
Mhm.
are moments when we think less about the noise, the sound
Mhm.
of everybody else, and more
Mhm.
about how does this make me feel. And it
Mhm.
reminds me kind of being a child before you let the world in with all of their opinions, right?
Mhm.
And to make it a little farther back for you, you may have been
100%.
in
Yeah.
kindergarten before
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that part of
Yeah.
it. But there's certain parts of my children's lives where I see what they're doing and I think you're not thinking about what anybody else thinks about what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're in
Yeah.
a moment where they're dancing or they're singing or they're playing on the floor, whatever it is that they're doing. And I think this, I wish I could show this to you when you turn
Yeah.
14 and you
Yeah.
think that it matters so much what,
Yeah.
John and Tom and Mary think
Yeah.
about you. When,
Yeah.
oh, look at the core of you. It's so beautiful
Yeah.
and magical and divine, but we get pulled away from it. And so then I feel like we spend the rest of our lives going, now hold on. I
Yeah.
think I'm I
I
think
agree.
I'm missing the picture here.
100%.
I
100%.
forgot that this is what it's all about. Hold on, let me get out and take all of that noise away
Yeah.
so that I can remember being in my room. on
Yep.
GarageBand singing into the mic.
Yeah.
Like you need
Yeah.
that as a visual. I
Yeah.
would have
Yeah.
somebody who loves Appleby, please draw a picture of him whispering into the mic of his Mac laptop, please. Send
It
him
was a
that
thing.
graphic so that
It
he
was a
can
thing.
put it in, wherever you go and just have it and
Yeah.
be like, that guy is making music today.
Yeah, no, thank you, thank you. No, those are things that I definitely try and hold in my mental whenever I'm spiraling. And it's
It's
like let's
so
try and go
hard.
back to that person, to that time. And again, it's just a practice effort and a
Yeah.
practice habit more than it is being like I can do this every time. It's just like a hey, I think this is where you're at. This is where I think you need to get back to,
Yeah.
and hopefully it works.
Okay, so 2013, we're doing the garage band, this whispering
Yeah,
into the mic. Man, that is it's a real stark visual in my head
yeah.
right now. If I could
Okay, I like
draw,
it.
I would sketch it real
Yeah,
quick for you.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, and so what was the next step? Because the first thing that I see
yeah.
on Spotify, it comes up in 2016 with Raven
It's
Lene.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
How
So
did we
we
get to
had
that point?
the studio that I chose in 2014 September um, was a studio called Classic Studios, and it was most known for having Chance the Rapper be
And where is
an
this?
artist. Chicago.
Okay,
So this is in Chicago, and it was a studio that I didn't know about Chance the Rapper being connected to it. I knew about it through looking online and being like, this is a very affordable engineer that's going to mix my terrible bedroom records. And so
perfect.
I show up to the studio because it's very costly, cost effective.
Right.
And I get there and he's like, so you like want to record? And I didn't want to sound like an amateur, so I say like, yes, I'm ready to jump in the booth and redo those songs that I spent. I redo those songs. I step out of the booth. It's like, yo, your music's weird, but I like it. At that particular time, there's an artist named Smino, and he was also there in the studio that day in my session. And then that's like August 2014, September. And I
Mhm.
put out my first song at that particular point in time. And at the studio was like Smino's producer, Monty Booker. Monty Booker was connected to Raven Lene, so he brought Raven in. And it was like us in the studio, like as like this like next stage of people that were working out of there. And then that's when I like learned that Chance the Rapper would be coming in and out of there. And so the way that the Free Room record came about was my engineer was also Raven's engineer. And at the end of a session one evening, maybe like 1 a.m., he was like, yo, Raven's working on this new song. Like, you got to check it out. And so he played it for me. And then I sent her like a text in the morning, like, yo, Brian played me such and such record. Like, can I be a part of this thing? And she was like, yeah. And so we made the record and then it became what it became because Raven is an absolute star. So yeah, that was like the first record for her to open up opportunities. And I love that.
Okay, what did that feel like? You're putting yourself out there,
Yeah.
and then yeah, sure. And then you're like,
Yeah, I mean, I think those are still all the purity era of like again, music has like evolved and changed so much over
yeah,
time of how we connect to it, how we report on it, how we digest it, because that's still like blog era and like ways of which of people like having the write ups around it and things of that nature. But in that time, because there was no version of like what the ceiling could be, you're just putting things out on SoundCloud and like
mhm,
you're not really thinking too big about how big this thing can get. And that was just one of those songs that like you made because like I like this song. I like this other artist. I'm down. We're cool. We have the same people around us. Like, yes. And then I think just through like her partnerships that she had at the time and her as just a talent, it spoke to people because we're two different style of artists. And so her sound and my sound at the time sort of made this very unique sort of like, I don't know if I could put my finger on it, but it sounds cool. And
yeah.
then it did well. And she was able to take whatever it did from that particular point and turn it into something much larger through a genuine connection with her audience. So yeah, just feeling grateful, I think, at that point.
I love it. Okay, tell me about what was happening next. You ended up putting out an album in 2018 called
Yeah,
Happiness.
yeah. So like I had a series of my own personal moments where it was like I had a song called Castles in 2016, which was like a SoundCloud sort of record that was very like electronic rap-ish kind of thing.
Hmm.
And that wasn't really me yet. So I'm still trying to find who I am and what it is that I want to say in music. And I had a session in 2016 with the producer of that song, Castles, called his name is Elias Abid. And at the end of the session, he was like, yo, this song that we had just made, which is based off one of my favorite movies, Almost Famous. He was like, yo, this song sounds like Coldplay Shiver. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, cause I didn't grow up with Coldplay. So like I have no frame of reference, but he
Right? You're
did.
like, cool.
And
Okay.
my
Yay.
nonchalant attitude, cause I am very like, okay, like it doesn't. If I'm not into it, you can very much see that I'll just be like, okay. And like he didn't like my response, so he was like, no, you have to listen. And
Oh,
so he stopped the session, played for me Shiver, and it was like fireworks in my brain. It was like this is like the greatest sound ever. Who are they? What's going on? And then like he played a couple other songs, and I was like, oh, I heard this song on the radio, but I didn't know who they were, kind of thing.
right.
And that summer, because I was introduced to them through Parachutes, which is their first album, I listened to their first two albums, Parachutes and Rush of Blood to the Head, that summer on like loop because I wanted to learn how to write like that or how to sing like that. And so that's how I like learned how to sing was like listening to those two albums. That same summer, we were in London for a short bit and got the opportunity to see them free of charge at Wembley Stadium. And it was that experience that sort of changed me from like a creative standpoint because I had never been to a stadium show before. I had
And
never,
Coldplay knows how to do it.
and Coldplay definitely knows how to do it. And it
Yeah.
was the first summer of me being a fan and knowing at least a segment of their music and having my personal connection to it and at the precipice of me changing as an artist. And so when I stepped into the stadium and like all the coordinated watches go yellow or whatever, and you're just like looking at old people, young people, black, white, everything in between, and like get emotional to these songs that don't really surfacely present as this is a pop record or this is a special record. They're just like emotional like outpourings that like match a human being's experience and gives them a word or a sound for it. It was like whatever this is, I don't know how to do any of this, but I want that. And so, like, leaving London, it was like, how do I achieve that? You got to go to the beginning. You have to like start with just very basic guitar. You have to learn how to like write a song. You have to learn how to like create an emotional connection to your sound. And that was the start of me. And Happiness is me making the very first iteration of that.
I went and saw Coldplay in 2023 for the
Amazing.
first time
Yeah.
at I don't know, it was at Mercedes Benz, so
Yeah.
a stadium.
Yeah.
And I went in there, and it was like right before we were going on vacation. And I know not a ton, but a fair amount of Coldplay songs. And I
Yeah.
actually I have another podcast that I did called 3 Degrees, where I did the relationship between three artists. So I
Yeah.
did Oasis, 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 Coldplay, Louis Tomlinson. Those are three people that I kind of
Yeah.
compared that
Yep.
had some relationship to each other. I think that was or maybe that was something else. Anyway, Coldplay was in there. I can't remember who I put him with, but and I remember getting into a thing and I'm thinking this is going to be good. I mean, Chris Martin
Yep.
is the most adorable human being.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to love this. And they had her open for them,
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
and
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I had seen her for the first time when she did something on like iHeart Awards or something, whatever she did,
Yeah.
Bidding the
The
Jets with Elton
performance.
John.
Yep. Yep.
And
Yep.
that was the first time I'd ever seen her perform, and I was like,
Yep.
"Who is
Is that?
this?"
Yeah. She's a
Like,
musician's musician. Like,
holy cow, like blew
yeah,
my mind.
yeah,
Anyway, so she
yeah,
comes out and that's incredible. And we all have the bracelets, and I've never been to a concert with the bracelet thing.
yeah, yeah,
That was
yep,
the first
yeah,
time I've ever experienced. And when it started happening, I was like it's
yeah.
not necessarily vibrating, right? But I
No,
felt a
you feel it.
vibration.
You feel it because like the way I kind of describe it to people is that like when you're in a stadium or if you're watching a show or you're at any version of a show and like the artist will ask for like flashlights, right?
Right,
And like some people don't pull out their phone, which
right,
means like there's an overwhelming amount of flashlights, but it's not all of them. And so,
right,
like, it would be this idea where you could feel the amount of people actually in stadium and being on the same page of connectivity through it. And it's like coordinated with whatever their performance is. And it's like, oh my God, like we're one. We're actually
right.
one. And that is what those moments are to me. But just taken up a notch because like it's Coldplay and their budget is absolutely insane. And like the coordinated watches comes from like a fan. That was like made by a fan that they ended up
Thank you, fam.
right? Like they ended up being able to take the idea, patent it, and then turn it into like what it is now, which I think is
It
incredible.
made me feel like it felt like live glitter,
Yeah.
like we
Oh,
were all
yeah, yeah, yeah.
like
Yeah.
reacting and falling and moving and being, and I was
Yeah.
like, this is what glitter feels like. Glitter
Yeah.
is so happy.
Yeah.
If
100%.
I could be
100%.
glitter, that's how.
Yeah. Yeah.
Such a cool experience. Okay, so I'm so glad that Coldplay played such an intricate.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
is
Yeah. I
intricate
loved
the
it.
right word? I don't know if that's integral.
Integral.
Integral. Thank you.
Integral.
I do
Yeah.
intricate and integral. Mix those
Yeah.
up. Thank you, perimenopause. Bless it. But I'm so glad that they had such an important role because what a great band. Number one,
Thank you.
they're extremely talented. Number two,
Yeah.
they've had real conversations about how to keep their music alive and how to keep their band
Yeah.
healthy,
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
mental state of each other. They care
Hmm.
about the world and
100%.
how it's doing and how we're
Hmm.
taking care of it. I mean, I just think they're outstanding examples
Same. Same.
of
They're beacons of hope for me.
yes,
And like as artists and in an environment in a world that's very capitalistic. So they
yes,
could be bigger if they wanted to be. They could be more Coldplay. They could be everywhere, and they choose to be what they are. And most of my favorite artists are artists that are like that. They're very much aware that they pour who they are into their art, and
yeah,
they've maintained this like level of success, but they're not looking for more of it. They
yeah,
just are very good with where they're at and maintaining their connection to their art.
yeah. Good people to look up to. Okay, so once that happened to you,
Yeah.
and it sounds like it happened to
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah, 100%. Then my
uh,
like wiring changed. I make happiness. Happiness is my first attempt at being probably whatever my version of authentic self is at the time,
Yep.
at whatever amateur version that is.
Right.
And then I put it out being like, I don't know. This works for me.
Right.
And then that worked for other people. And then it sort of started opening up new doors by way of like sync placement. So it's like in TV shows and indie films and commercials and like
What does
all
that
of these
feel
different
like?
things. Oh, it was like amazing because I'm a big TV and film like junkie. So it was like living out my childhood fantasies by way of it being like, hey, you can watch this show on CW, or you can watch this show on Showtime, or you can watch like this indie film with like the actor from like Napoleon Dynamite, like John Heater, and like his indie film over here, and like he's singing to the record in this bowling alley, and all these different things where you're just like, oh, this is just like a fantasy of all of my favorite passions, like as it currently stood, like meeting each other and being like, I'm a reflection of those spaces based off of how somebody is like, hey, your music actually works in that same place that you're a big fan of. And it being like, oh, Coldplay helped push me into like more of myself and that
Oh,
overlapping thing of sound and vision, sound and like and visual, like
yeah.
combining, and it was amazing. I still love it. It's like my favorite thing in the world to have that experience.
Okay, do they like notify you and be like, "Hey, Appleby, I just want to let you know that this is going to show up here"? How does it
Yeah, well,
happen?
so the way it works with most of these things is that like it'll be an email, and it depends now. Like there's sync companies that are pitching things for you. There are publishing companies that are pitching things for you that have like a sync department. But essentially, at that particular time, I had none of those things, and it was an email from a music supervisor because music supervisors like have tons and tons of folders of different things to be able to like mood playlists, colors, emotions, this thing, and this thing to be like we're working on a show. We're going to try and slide this song in or create a miniature playlist for said team to factor in these songs. But either way, they reached out via email and then they're like, hey, we love this song. This is for this TV show at the time, which is called Grownish, which was a spinoff of Blackish. And they were like, we'd love for your song to be used at this particular part of the episode. It will be used for this amount of time. Are you interested? Once you say yes, then like there's certain things that they're looking for from you, which are like hopefully no samples. If you have samples, you have to clear it with other people.
Okay.
And then your like paperwork is done with the person that you're like creating said song with. So it was just my producer at the time, Elias B, and I. It's just all of us just together. So that made it easy. And the more your business is intact, the easier it is because they don't necessarily have the time always to be like,
Right.
we got to go clear it through 5 other people. That's going to take 10 weeks, 5 weeks, whatever. Like, we just want to kind of go.
Right.
So,
Okay. So
like,
everybody take note. I hope you wrote that down.
yeah,
Everybody write that down.
take note of that
Yeah.
and have everything sort of like planned out, have your stems ready to go, have your record, the wave file, have everything just waiting essentially so that when that opportunity comes, everybody can just sign and send over said thing. And then the rest is not in your control. Like my very first placement in this show, it went from like supposed to be used for like a minute and a half to like used for like 10 seconds. But the pay was the same because that's what they paid for. So like that stayed the same.
Do you
You just tune in.
negotiate what you're getting paid, or do they just offer you something?
They'll tell you what their budget is for the thing. I'm sure the higher up you are, I'm sure when it comes down to like now, even in reaching out to like my team, because at the time I had no team, you could probably be like, hey, I'm looking for more of this. Or if you're an artist like I don't know, like Frank Ocean or Beyonce or something, like if they're coming to you, they're probably coming with X amount, and then your team can reply like, we're not doing it unless it's this. And they're comfortable being like, we either can do this or we're not going to do it. So at that time, it was just like, yes.
Yeah.
And
exposure.
So
did you see a boost in your streams or in your sales?
I think I saw more of like a boost from just the people around me being like, oh, this is incredible, more than anything, because it was only 10 seconds and it wasn't like a full scene. So I find that and having had multiple experiences in sync placements, I find the longer usage of the song, the more of a boost via Shazams and streams. And then like the more integral the scene is, like if it's like a funeral scene and the music comes on, it's like Charlie Puth and Wiz Khalifa when they did like See You Again within Fast and Furious series when Paul Walker had just passed away and it was like an ode to him. And like within this movie, like it makes that song soundtrack that moment and like it lives forever.
Yeah.
And that's where you can find like the most benefit of a sync placement. But like other than that, there's scales of level of that kind of thing. But that would probably be like one of the biggest because I think that's like one of the biggest like sync records kind of thing.
That's so crazy to think about. I just can't. I always like to think about like the first time you hear yourself on the radio, the first time that you pass a store, or you're in the grocery store and you're like,
that's me.
That's me.
Yeah.
What was the first time that you heard yourself somewhere that you weren't anticipating?
The gym. the gym was the first time that I heard myself like, and I like tried to play it really cool and like do stretches, even though I just finished stretching and like have my phone going to just be like, yo, that's me right now. Like this is because like you're not gonna run around the gym and get kicked out. So you're just kind of like, is somebody playing tricks on me? Like who knows me here? What's going on? And
That's
so
so
that was like my
cool.
first time like hearing me like in that setting and then maybe like a couple years prior I had heard um myself on like Sirius X Sirius Radio. There you go.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing experience because like I think sometimes as creatives you get lost in thinking that you're not making an impact
Yeah.
and then like it's outside of you when something like that happens at the gym. It's like, oh, somebody somewhere was like, I want to hear this here,
It's
and you're
such
like,
a
oh,
crazy thing to think about.
okay, cool, yeah, yeah,
Or when you check your Spotify creator list and you go and look at the countries
yeah,
where somebody's
yeah,
listening, and you're like, you're where? You're in
yeah,
Tanzania?
yeah.
Oh, what?
Nice, nice,
Like,
yeah.
there's 3 people in Tanzania who have heard your
Okay,
song. Like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
cool.
yeah,
How? How
yeah,
does it
yeah.
happen?
One
It's
hundred
so
percent,
crazy.
100%.
Um, that was my favorite thing about when I was one of the other podcasts I do, and I would watch the countries that would show up, and I would be like, there's just like some person in Peru that just listened to me talking
Yeah,
about Coldplay or or whoever. It's like
yeah.
that is so weird. So I
I
can't
love
imagine
that.
how fun that is to be just like walking around wherever and being like,
Yeah,
that's hey guys, that's you like
that's
that?
me.
Yeah, that's me.
That's yeah,
So fun. Okay. Oh, by the way, emergency
yeah.
love,
Thank you. Thank you.
heartbreaking, rip my
Yeah.
just, but
Thank you.
so good. I listened to that this morning when I was getting ready, and I was like, gosh, I can't wait for you to do all the things. Okay,
Yeah.
and I don't want to skip ahead. I do want to talk about
Yeah.
something that I know you've been talking
100%.
about recently.
Yeah.
That you had a period of time where you didn't show your face. You were going to be the
Yeah.
mysterious artist
Yeah.
that nobody
Yeah.
knows, and it was the
Yeah.
hat
Yeah.
this way and that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you think back on that time, and I know that was an artistic thing,
Hmm.
do you think there was more to it than that? Were you
Yes.
hiding?
Yeah. I mean, there's like, and going back and like redefining that time for myself, just like reliving it, like seeing the photos and being like, okay, cool, like I want to talk about this, but I understand now where I'm at today, what was really happening outside of the main decision. So like first decision in hiding my face was that like I didn't tell my friends or family that I was making music. So like no one around me knew. And so I didn't want there to be like an attachment to seeing me and then having somebody text me like, yo, I listened to your song or whatever the case may be. I didn't want to be
No
robbed
judgment.
of this thing that I was doing for me. It was the first
Hmm.
thing that I had found post tennis after all the years to be like, yo, I think this is just for me. And then obviously I ended up picking like my family's name, which is Appleby, is my mom's maiden name. Um, and so it was like a way to like have my family part of the journey despite me not telling them. It was
Hmm.
also like a way to maintain like uh an understanding accountability wise that no matter how big you may get or may not get, like you're screwing up your family's name if you're screwing up. So it's like a way to be like accountable. And then it was a
Again, that
name in 20
responsibility
years.
thing.
Thank you. Yeah. And 20 years, I would never want to change the name because it's who I am. Like,
Yeah.
so that was an all encompassing thing, but that led to also being like, I don't want anybody to see my face. And then it was a thing of the era of the time for it to be like anonymity driven. So
Hmm.
The Weekend, Bryson
Yeah.
Tiller, later on Sia, later on her. And like that was just like a shadow time period of like forcing the listener to just connect with the music. And then it's like a marketing tool. But um my thing underneath as I went back was just that I was dealing with identity issues because it became bigger than just the promotion of it online. Was that like in real life, I was like not participating in photos or videos at all because I just didn't want to see it. or see myself or be seen by anyone, even if it was a happy day. Like, and I'd be smiling behind that. Like, you couldn't see it because I don't know when you can't actually look at the photo or video. So it was a much bigger thing that I could hide underneath the guise of branding. And I think a lot of those artists like myself who did that probably have similar feelings towards it. But at a certain point, it's the coming out of it being like, I don't want to be in the shadows, I guess, of my own life. And then you have to reintroduce yourself and grow accustomed to what it's like to be in front of the camera. But yeah, for me, it was definitely a part of like just identity issues and insecurities and a safety net of like, don't see me, don't know what I'm actually feeling, don't look at my own eyes in the photo and be like, you're actually not happy, even if you're smiling, kind of thing. So it was just a way to kind of mask it all until I became a bit better emotionally, mentally to step out. And then it's taken a long time to understand like where it comes from. So that moving forward, I can sort of like educate myself and then use some of those in certain songs of mine to kind of talk about for anybody else that might be in that current place today.
I think a lot of people, there are periods of our lives where we wish we could hide,
Mm-hmm.
where we're hoping nobody can see. My roommate and I talked a lot about how we both have the ability that when we get into a room, I've pegged everybody in the room. I can tell
Mm-hmm.
your emotions. I can tell if you have
Mm-hmm.
some really bad trauma in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we're just really um, good at it. And the reason that we're
Mm-hmm.
really good at it is that there was a lot of reading the room when we were kids.
100%. Yeah.
And it can be a helpful gift, but it
100%.
also is a very exhausting one sometimes.
100%. Yeah, because you
And
don't
then
turn it off.
you turn it on yourself where
Mm-hmm.
you going, now if I can do that, then surely everybody else could, and I don't want you
Mm-hmm.
seeing the inside of me because
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what the inside of me really feels or thinks right now. Don't you be coming
Mm-hmm.
in here and then being like, what's
Yeah.
that, what's that, and be like, no, no,
Yeah.
no, no. I don't even
Yeah.
know yet. I don't want you in here.
Yeah.
you know
100%.
stay out of
100%.
my space, especially since you went from my identity as tennis to now I don't even know if my identity is music, but it's something that I have found that I enjoy and that I love, that I
Yeah.
feel like isn't performative yet, really.
100%. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, and I don't know if I want to make it performative, because what if it gets, what if it gets
Yeah.
taken from me? What if
Uh-huh.
you try to
Yeah.
take it from me? What if you try to
Yeah.
take the experience that I'm having
Yeah. Yeah.
from me, and
Yeah.
they can't take it from you unless you let them, which you won't, because
Yeah.
you're in a better headspace. And I'm
Yeah.
excited for you that you
Thank you.
have so much self-awareness. I feel like it's hard,
Mm-hmm.
because again, there's a lot going on in our brains as we're,
Mm-hmm.
processing. I'm like, I just want to understand people and be understood. And
Mm-hmm.
not everybody will understand me, and I can't always
Yeah.
understand other people, but I am
Yeah.
constantly on the,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
part of why I
Yeah.
do this.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
let me inside. I love this.
Yeah.
This is so magical and so great.
I
And
love that.
yet, we can't know everything, but I love that you are seemingly always on the hunt of self-discovery, of discovering the
Yeah.
next thing, even if you don't
Yeah.
understand it in the
Yeah.
moment,
Yeah.
because that's one of the things that I feel like would really help all of us right now in the world that we're living in, that is a little weird and a little
Mm-hmm.
scary,
Mm-hmm.
or a lot weird and a lot scary.
Yeah.
um,
100% for
to
sure.
just be a little bit more aware of where we are, and to cling to music like it's our
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
everything,
Yeah.
because it can really help.
It totally can. It totally can.
It really can help.
Yes. I fully agree with you.
Okay, so what happened? uh, we're probably going to have to
Yep.
little shifty shift, but I want to talk
Yep.
about what happened when you put out Without You,
Yeah.
because that became quite the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I think like without you, I guess top of this year, I was just re-entering like social media again, and then the LA fires happened, which I'm based in LA, and so that was like an insane thing happening. Plus the idea of TikTok being banned, and just before it was being banned, I started to like get traction, and not like from any grand level, but like I don't know, Joe Jonas commenting and being like, "Hey, I like
Yeah.
this song," or like having a moment with Timbaland, or
Yeah.
that led to like Flavor Flav and like Tom Green and like just random people that I would never imagine recognizing me today.
Right.
Um, and so it was like cool, like little things of it being like, hey, I think that this song is resonating. It's still a demo. I don't have it out. I don't have a whole lot of things in order yet, but cool. And then TikTok is potentially being banned. And then it was like, oh, this sucks.
Right.
And my girlfriend makes a living through TikTok currently. Um, and uh, and so it was just like a lot going on with the idea of it being banned, and you're like, do I have to
Right.
find a new job? Like, what's going on? And so I was exhausted. She was exhausted. But then this new app sort of was introduced to us, a new app for Americans, but not to the a certain part of the world. It's called Red Note, and Red Note is like an actual Chinese based app that kind of like is like Facebook, uh, Pinterest, and TikTok all wrapped into one.
Yeah.
And she started using it. She was like, "You should use it." I was like, "I don't really feel like it because I'm tired." But she had posted a couple of things. Was like, "I'll show you what to do." So she showed me. I spent a bunch of time just re-editing a couple videos and then posted them on Red Note. Whatever, went to sleep, woke up to like 10,000 followers. By the end of the week, it was 25,000. And today, as it stands, it's somewhere around like 145,000 or something like that. And it just sort of like opened this brand new door of working overseas in that way. And that gave me confidence to just like let my music be whatever it is in the state that it is, to just get it out, and let's just do step by step and build the floor of my foundation properly. And then let's go from there. But like the song itself helped open that door. I loved it, but it's just one of those songs that you press play on, and I feel like it checks a lot of the buttons or boxes before you get to the end. And so by the time, if you check enough boxes, like it'll be like a repeat listen. So now it'll become like at least two listens when you play it.
Yeah.
And if it's two listens, for some it's three. And then if it is three, you're probably likely to like want to play it for somebody else.
Yes.
Or
And
have
then it gets on
somebody
my
else
liked
do it.
list.
Yeah, yeah. And so it just like kind of grew from there, and it's still in its infancy, but I really love when records that I connect with also have like a resonant place for somebody else.
I loved it so much. And then every time I saw you, there was something about your persona that just was so genuine and so real. And I don't know if this is just a marketing thing, but you talked
Yeah,
a lot about in your videos, like, I don't know where this sits in the genre. Like, I don't know if I
yeah,
fit
yeah,
in a
yeah,
the slot that either A, you want me in, or
yeah.
B, the slot I should be. I don't know
Yeah, it's
whatever
a
this
career
is.
struggle that will always be there, and it stems from what my upbringing is that we kind of talked about with the melting
Hmm.
pot, because that is just naturally who I am, is to reflect these other things and then find my own lens to put it in. And then unfortunately, like as a black artist, there is a way that you're being perceived by the
Right.
world genre wise before you even like utter anything from your mouth. There's like a perception on what it is, and then once you do, if it's not neatly in that package that everybody is comfortable with, know it to be. If you sing, it's R&B. If you do anything else, then it's rap or hip hop or some version thereof. Then like you're kind of like missing what I consider what your audience would be. So like somebody might be like, hey, that's R&B because I'm singing, because I'm not fully singing pop melody like, I don't know, Vincent Boone might, but Even though I might be singing like a Harry Styles to somebody or whatever, then it'll be considered like R&B. But like I wouldn't consider myself R&B to go on tour with like Lucky Day or
Right.
her, who's like R&B,
Right.
you know. And so then you kind of like spend a lot of time being on the wrong playlist, the
Mm,
algorithm not understanding, so it's not introducing you to the right audience, so it's putting you in front of people that will want R&B. Then they play your song and they're like, this is not R&B. And then you're
right.
not getting to the pop people who would like The Weeknd or who would like Harry
Right.
Styles. But The Weeknd is taking him like a long time to finally get to like pop, pop, like full
Right.
blown pop. And so a lot of the upcoming artists like myself, you just get lost because you don't fit neatly in the box. And so it's finding out how to reach that audience so that you can be perceived in the right way. Otherwise, I think most of those artists at that space and even a bit bigger get lost. And that's
Yeah.
where like labels don't know how to work with certain artists in that space that don't fit neatly in the box. And now you're just marketing again to the wrong people. And it looks like it's not working, but it's just not working because it's in front of the wrong people more than the record not being great. So that's something that I think I have to adjust to recognizing I'll always struggle with because I won't ever be an artist that's like, this is clear cut this. It'll always kind of feel like this, or the packaging of it won't be what you know it to be in pop or what you know it to be in indie pop or indie rock or whatever the case may be.
Well,
So
hopefully we can make some changes in the future that where we don't look at a person and go, this is what you are based on what you look like.
100%. Yeah, it's conversations. But I think in general, it comes down to the artists themselves being like, I'm comfortable with what it is that I make. And then I just have to figure out my formula for how I'm being seen. And then like you can't choose the audience chooses you. So whoever adopts you is somebody hopefully you want to be adopted by. Otherwise, you find artists being unhappy with who their audience is and trying
Mm-hmm.
to go for a pop audience. And that's just not the package that they want to choose. And so now you're just like hitting your head up against a wall, trying to be seen and liked by people that don't want to like you or need another reason to like you, like somebody else liking it first. And now it's like, okay, we like you too. And so like
Such
that's
a
some of
weird
that
thing.
process. For sure. For sure.
I hate the begging people like, no, listen, no, I promise, no, it's good. No, you'll love it. No, come on. And I'm like,
Mhm.
well, the right people
Yeah.
will find you. The right people will
100%.
find you. Okay,
100%.
let's I've got a fair amount of not a fair amount. I have seven. I do
Uh-huh.
seven rapid fire questions at the
Oh, I
end
love
of
that.
my
Yeah.
interview, but they are
Let's
not
go.
rapid. They
Okay.
are well thought out, and I just can't come up with a better title
I like it.
because I have rapid fire questions written on the page. All right, let's start with this. This is just to help your fans get to know you a little bit better with some weird or bizarre or fun questions. Number one is, what would be your ideal vacation? And now this could be a place that you go, or this could be
Mhm.
things that you do, or both.
Okay. Ideal vacation. Italy. Italy is one of my favorite places in the world. It's incredibly peaceful. The food is fantastic. The food is also like much cheaper than people think.
Yes.
And it's probably the most restorative I've ever felt in any other place that I've been. So definitely Italy.
Oh, great answer. I was supposed to be going this summer, but I think I've decided maybe next year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Number two, favorite concert you've ever attended and someone you'd like to see live.
Favorite concert I've ever attended the weekend. Excuse me. The Coldplay show.
Okay.
Wembley Stadium. That will always be my favorite, no matter what. And it's just because it hit me at a pivotal point in my life that I needed it. So definitely that. Who I'd like to really see. I'd love to be able to afford to see Adele, but like
Yes.
there's a lot of money raising that would need to have to happen. Or I got to be at a certain place in my life or know someone. But she's definitely like someone that or Tyler.
Okay. All right. Um, overrated and underrated holiday.
Overrated holiday, Valentine's Day. Overrated. Overrated because if you need one specific day to highlight your partner, then I feel as though you're dropping the ball.
Okay.
So overrated because of that. Like it should feel more like celebratory all the time, and it's just another day to celebrate you, but a specific one.
Yeah.
So that's why it's overrated for me. Underrated. Oof. Underrated is Halloween. I think Halloween's underrated from a standpoint of like it's you can kind of get to know somebody's truest self, even if it's like silliness or this kind of person or who you want to pick and identify with that particular time period. And it's fun. Like I love the playful nature of what it is because it's like dress up. So it's kind of like an opportunity to be like a kid again. And the older we get, the further away from our inner child we get. Yeah. So like it's like a day of like a bunch of candy, a bunch of nonsense, and if you choose to dress up, it's a playful time where you can dress up and people won't criticize your choices to a degree if they're like playful.
I love it. I love that, even though I can get the same answer for one or both, it's always a different reason. And that's one of the reasons why I love the question. All right. Give me a weird food combo that only you enjoy or something really delicious that you think we should try that sounds a little bizarre.
Weird food choices. I don't know if I'm a weird food guy. I don't know if I'm a weird food guy. Like I think I do things pretty standard and like above board.
Okay, something delicious then.
And something delicious. Something delicious. Well, I mean, if my hope, I got into sushi late in life.
Okay.
Because I grew up in like an environment where like everything needed to touch fire before like you consume it if it was like a food type thing, like a meal kind of thing. So like I was robbed of that, and it wasn't until like I had like a release party from somebody's thing, and they had sushi and like a creative you didn't eat all day, and so I was starving as the platter came around, and I was like, everybody's been lying. Sushi is amazing. So
it doesn't need any fire.
Yeah, it doesn't need any fire. You're like, who cares about that? Just be very selective with where you go. Yeah, I mean, if there's something you should get hip to if you haven't been hip to it, is try sushi, and I mean that without the rice, the nigiri and sashimi styles. That's something delicious that you should experience at some point.
I think it's a really intimidating thing for a lot of people who have never 100%. Had it. 100%. And once you do, then you're like, oh, I mean, I remember the first time it was a very strange experience. It was with a band, strangely enough. But I was meeting some guy online. This is in the AOL days.
Yeah.
And I met up with him and his bandmates, and we went for sushi. And it was like, when I put it, I was like, it's a lot putting in your mouth, to be honest.
It is. It's a risk.
And initially you're like, as soon as it's in your mouth and you close your lips, you're thinking, am I going to die? I'm like, am I going to joke trying to chew this up? And so I was like, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, and then it was like, God, this is kind of I don't even know what I'm tasting, whatever. But I do think it's delicious. But that is hilarious. Things that need fire. That may be the title of this episode. Things that need fire.
I love that.
What is the kindest thing that anyone has ever said or done for you?
Kindest. I think I'll credit my girlfriend for like something that was like the kindest thing. My last birthday last year in September is the beginning of us potentially dating, because we never even talked about dating. We just kind of like happened, and it wasn't until I was like at the doctor where like I had like the muscle had separated from the bone in my pinky, and the doctor, she was there at the doctor, and she was like, oh, like she referenced her as my girlfriend, and we both like didn't say anything. It was like, yeah, sure. And then later on we talked about it. But anyway, for my birthday, she surprised me with like a Airbnb night experience in like Laurel Canyon, and like this little part of the hills that was like kind of tucked away, and it had like a pool and a jacuzzi, and very gorgeous views and like a backyard with like a TV in the backyard, like one of the like projectors
Yeah.
and I just never had somebody like go out of their way that wasn't like a loved one or to some degree, um, really do something that like I wasn't expecting and like did that and like surprised me with like a escape room, which I'm a big escape room fan. It was just like being seen for all the things
Oh,
that I love and not really having to say it out loud. The person was just like, I see you. So like I know that you like drive in, so let's give you like a personal drive in. I know that you like jacuzzi pool, like let's give you this and like escape, let's add this in there. Just all these things where it was just like, wow, this is definitely like the kindest thing that anybody's ever done for me without feeling like it like came with strings attached kind of thing.
oh, that's exactly what
So
we want.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Shouts
All we
out to
need to
her.
be is to be seen.
Yes, agreed.
Oh, love that. Okay. Personality pet peeves. Let's take a hard,
Yeah.
sharp right turn,
Yeah, yeah.
left turn, different turn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Personality pet
Yeah.
peeve. Something that really just gives you the ick. You're like, don't do that.
Um Uh, I, I guess I have two things. One, uh, not holding the door for someone or opening the door for somebody. That's just like a natural pet peeve because I grew up again just around women. So that just like it's a natural like word. You don't want to open the door. You don't want to hold the door. Like that's just like to me.
Yeah.
And then tardiness, like that's a big thing for me. I'm a big stickler for time because I grew up with a parent that was very like particular around time. So a pet peeve of mine is when somebody says that they're going to be late 5 minutes before the thing or after it's already time to meet. It'll just be like, hey, I'm going to be late. It's like I recognize that because it's 10:05. Uh, but then it'll be like I'm almost there, and then it'll be like an hour from then because it's just like a disrespect of both of the, like our time. So
Yeah.
those two, I think, are pet peeves. I probably have a bunch. I think at this point, because the older we get, the more we get settled into who we are. And we're like, I actually really don't like this thing. But those are two things that I'm
Those are
just
good
like,
ones, though. I do
yeah,
get offended when I'm walking and somebody goes in and they're, just a couple of steps ahead of
yeah,
me and they just let
yeah.
the door shut. And I'm like, really?
It
You
didn't
didn't
take
have
that
two
much effort.
seconds?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
And it's not even
yeah.
so much about me being a girl as much as it is just like,
Just polite. It's a
if you see
polite.
somebody's coming, I just wait.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just,
Or like at least pushing the door like to where the
right.
person doesn't have to try and open it. But I kind of consider that either like lack of awareness or like
Right.
lack of interest in caring about the person because you have no attachment to them. It
Right.
just tells me something about the person more than like anything. So
Yeah. We're
yeah.
watching.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are your words to live by? And I feel like
Uh,
this changes. So if you've got something that you've always said, great. If not, it could be something that you're saying to yourself this year.
No, I mean it's kind of how it started with our conversation. It's fun. The book ended in this capacity, but it's I'm alive. Everybody that I know like will be like, how are you? And my statement is always the same. It's I'm alive. And so words to live by for me is that because every day is a gift and it's a reminder for myself mentally and my body to like recognize like no matter what good or bad of a day you might be having or are having or could have, you still recognize that today you were given a gift of life itself. And never take that for granted because like there's a bad day and there's a day where you lose somebody. There's a bad day and there's a day where your body is like broken or like a bad day when like your voice is gone or a good day and so like either of these things is to be like I don't want to lie to my body and say I'm fine. If I'm not, you can
Right.
start with I'm alive and then this is where I'm actually at.
Right.
So if you know me today and you've been around me maybe for like the last like year and a half, everybody knows that I say that. And at this point, it's like a running joke. But yeah, that words to live by, like I'm alive and let's maintain some gratitude around whatever our days are, at least my day is.
I love it. It's the number one reason why I'm doing what I'm doing now is because I had a
Yeah.
period of time a couple of years ago where I was like, I'm just going to coast until I die. There's
Yeah.
nothing really to live for.
Yeah.
I don't really
Yeah.
like anything about my life, and it's just going to be
Yeah.
one big boring piece of poo until I die.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then something happened. And what happened was that my brother-in-law was diagnosed with a terminal illness. And I
Yeah.
went, he wouldn't give up if he had the choice.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I'm going to voluntarily
Give
choose
up.
to
Yeah.
just coast in an uninterested way, like, and it just
Yeah.
made me I just flipped the whole bus around in
That's
one big
amazing.
giant swoop, and I went, okay, no, no,
Yeah.
no, we're going to find something to be passionate about and something that contributes, because I want to leave a legacy. And my legacy, I hope that I leave, is that I really, really, really loved people, and I really,
Yeah.
really loved music. You
Well,
know,
I mean, you're doing the passions that allow and afford for you the opportunity to make those connections happen and like leave that legacy behind. So kudos to you for like flipping it around and sticking with it, which are much easier said than done things to do.
yeah, but you have done them as well. You've
Thank
literally
you.
had
Thank you.
moments where you're going, I don't know who I am. And
Yeah.
instead of just living in a space where you just don't know who you are and you flounder and flounder, because some people flounder
Mm-hmm.
for their entire
100%.
lives. They
100%.
just,
100%.
like, it doesn't matter. And they're just willy nilly going in whatever direction that they just happen upon, and then complain about how their life is going. But you were very specific and go, I'm going to figure this out. We may have
Mm-hmm.
had a moment of haze, but we figured it out.
100%.
First of all, thank you so much for being a part of this with me. I am so grateful.
Absolutely.
You are such, you're as delightful as I anticipated that you would be.
Oh,
This
thank
was
you.
impactful
I
for
appreciate that.
me to have this
I love that.
conversation. I do want to say that I hope that as you move forward in your journey, that you find stability in you,
Mm-hmm.
that you
Mm-hmm.
find a
100%.
good, strong place to stand in your own two
Yep.
feet, that you
Yep.
never worry about where your genre is taking you, as long as you're being authentic in the music that you're making, that the people
Thank you.
that you are surrounded by are solid and good and kind people, and
Mm-hmm.
that whatever room that you're in, if you're reading the room, that you find yourself around people who are for you, not against you. And
Yes.
may you have
I love
much
that.
success going
Thank you.
forward.
I appreciate that, Heather. I really appreciate it. This has been wonderful to be able to have this conversation and share a little bit about what's going on in my world. And you really do seem to care in a very authentic and honest way. And that makes me excited, not really just for myself, but everybody that you're around and also for your family. So I feel like it's amazing to be able to have conversations like this and understand that it's through music that things like this happen, and that through music it spreads to places even like Tanzania. So yeah, it feels
Yes.
amazing.
Yes. Okay. What do we have coming up for the rest of 2025?
Next Friday, I'm releasing a song called Panic Mode
Okay.
that I'm really excited about. I shot a video for it last night.
Yay.
Yeah, and so we'll start with that. And then either back end of July, we'll drop another song. And then that'll lead to a mixtape that I'll put out in August or September. There's a chance that I'll be performing at the end of this year, and then just more performances in the next year. And yeah, so body of work, more songs, and live shows.
Great stuff. All right. Well, I'll make sure that I put in the description ways to find your
Absolutely.
music, guys. Download and stream all of Appleby's stuff. You're such a
Thank you.
gifted artist, and
Thank you.
your spirit is just warm and fuzzy and feels good. And thank you so much for
I'm
sharing it
honored.
with me. I hope you have a
Thank you.
great weekend. Do what you
Thank you.
got to
You as
do, and
well.
I know you look forward to next weekend when you get to relax a little bit. But thank you for your
Yes,
time
yes.
today.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. If there's anything else you need, just let me know.
All right, bye.
All righty. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.